have 8 minutes, Senator.
I probably won't take the 8 minutes, Chair. So I'd like to welcome you, Minister, warmly welcome you back into the chamber. And, you know, I'm very aware that this is as devastating for you as it is for the rest of us. I know you're a very compassionate person. I know you care a lot about children, and I've no doubt that you're doing your best to change the situation, and particularly on this report. It's devastating, and as my colleague said, I'm deeply saddened to hear. It's hard to hear what has gone on in the report, and I noted this during order of business yesterday, that when reading the report, again, I was really struck by the clear focus on alcohol abuse. And how big an impact this is having on child welfare. And I'll quote it directly, Minister. In a significant number of the 90 cases reviewed as part of the audit, it was evident that drug and/or alcohol abuse by parents was compromising their ability to care for their child. So one example of that, and we know this is in one instance, a 1-year-old child was found wandering alone in a housing estate because their mother was under the influence of alcohol. This is an awful situation, and it just won't stop unless we really start addressing the root causes. And again, I want to quote Dr. Shannon directly on the role alcohol plays here. And he says, the biggest challenge facing society is the adverse consequences for the welfare of many children posed by alcohol. Drug and alcohol abuse are a key feature of this report and have a very damaging effect on children. The failure by society to address alcohol is a fundamental problem, places insurmountable problems on the child protection system. So it's not just about TUSLA or the Garda, it's about society and our ambivalence to alcohol and substance misuse. Now, I totally agree with Dr. Shannon, and it's sadly no real surprise to me that my own background working in the area of alcohol abuse has been several cases like this has been quoted. And I feel, Minister, that I really believe we're a nation in denial around this issue. I really am concerned. And as you know, I set up an organisation for families because I know the devastation, and I see it every single day. And I had a story recently, Minister. A young woman came to me and told me the story of what happened to her 8-year-old niece. And what happened was her 8-year-old niece came to her auntie and said, please take me out of the home I'm in because I cannot live anymore, and started to tell the auntie about the alcohol misuse that was going on, about the fighting that was going on. And this young woman, she went everywhere. She went to every organisation. She went to her local community. She went to her local guards. She even went to a lawyer. She wanted to take this child under her own wing and take the child out of the home where there was severe alcohol misuse, even though it was her own family member. She wanted to protect. It was only her own family member that was misusing the alcohol. She wanted to take the child. She did. At one point, she just took the child and she kept the child. But the guards came and took the child back to the home. And devastating, absolutely devastating, because of the situation, because of the law, because of the legislation, I don't know. But the reality was the child was brought back in. Now, that was a good few years ago now. There is no doubt that I feel my concern now is, where is that child now who's probably 13, 14, and is that child going to end up in alcohol misuse? I worked with another family who told me, and I'm only giving you an examples here, and this is the issue that I deal with every day, again, it was a daughter who had a 3-year-old child, and the 3-year-old child, when the mother would put her hands in her head in her hands, knew automatically to go to the press to get wine for Mammy, because that was what the child thought, that's what was fixed Mammy and fixed Mammy's headaches. And also, when went into a local shop, would go straight over to the alcohol part of the shop and get the bottle of wine for Mammy. I mean, that's the reality. That's what we're dealing with here. Now, I know I keep harping on about the alcohol issue, but I'm dealing with it every day. The public health alcohol bill needs to be addressed. It needs to be brought in. This is about changing our culture. It's a long-term, strategy. There's no doubt about it. It's about changing our culture. The Rise Foundation is an organisation, and I know you know this, Minister, that I work with. I believe that we can educate families. We can educate them about the impact of alcohol misuse. It's in our souls, alcohol is. That is the reality. And it's devastating families. And I believe that if we have one family member that's misusing alcohol, and the other person, the partner who they have a young family, the partner is so preoccupied with trying to look after that person or trying to stop the arguments, they cannot be present to their children. If we can get to one family member, it will break the cycle, and not even the one that actually has the alcohol misuse problem. If we can educate the other parent or the other partner, I really believe that we can change, we can actually stop the legacy of alcohol misuse by educating family members, and that's what Rise does. Now, I'm only talking about this because I'm very passionate about this. I see it on a daily basis. I see families being devastated, and I see children's lives, and here we have a report that's highlighting it. At last, I feel at last somebody is speaking on behalf of these families, and I wanted to also be a voice for those families, and we need to change our culture. And we need to address this issue, and we need to highlight it. And this is and I thank sincerely Dr. Shannon for what he has done. I really am deeply grateful, as are all of the families that I represent here today who have somebody that they love with an alcohol or drug or gambling problem. So, Gura Mila Mahagut, and I wish you well, Minister. Thank you very much.